Welcome everybody to Haunt Chat Live. In the spotlight tonight, we have Haunted Attraction Network and a Haunt Journal with our guest Philip Hernandez. I am your hostess with the mostest, Mistress Laurie, and I would like you to please welcome your host and my husband, Reverend Michael, our gravedigger.
Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing tonight? Boy, we're run by the skin of our teeth tonight, aren't we? Little traditions start a minute or two late, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay. We're all good. I get all nervous here and everything. First show, welcome to Haunt Chat Live. That's right, Haunt Chat Live. We're gonna have a blast tonight. We have in the spotlight, we have Philip Hernandez from Haunted Attractions Network, Haunt Journal, Haunted Attractions Symposium. He does everything. He does a whole bunch of things. Philip, I want to welcome you to the show tonight. How the hell are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a little tricky getting everything set up, but I think we're set up now. I just can't figure out where to watch. So those of you that are, or for you guys, I can't see you because I'm trying to bring you up over here, but otherwise I'm doing good. I'm browsing the Haunt Chat Facebook page and trying to get loaded on my computer that's over here instead of what the computer that's in front of me.
Remember, it's on the Haunt Chat Live page, not the Haunt Chat group, the Haunt Chat Live page. Two totally separate things. That's okay. We won't worry about them. And, well, you don't really need to see us. You can fly blind. You do everything anyway. You know how to do this stuff. So all you really need to do is listen to things that we ask and tell the people all about Haunted Attractions Network and the Haunt Journal and all the other kind of fun stuff. And I got to tell you, man, because I've been following you for a while, and you really have your hands in so much. You are a one busy man, aren't you?
A little bit, yes. I have it up here on the side, so I can see it, but it's a little bit of delay, so this is fun.
Yeah, that's gonna freak you out a little bit, isn't it?
We have a little bit of delay between our two also.
Awesome. Good. We're good. We're ready.
And of course, you know, this being the first show, going to be a couple little technical glitches. Doesn't matter how much you practice it ahead of time. Although, yeah, we didn't. That's okay. Fly by our seat. Gonna be a blast. Gonna have fun. All right. Anyway, so Haunted Attractions Network. What the hell is the Haunted Attractions Network?
Well, the Haunted Attraction Network is, let's see. So we have our official verbiage on there, but I think it's kind of best described as what you would think of as a traditional network. So as in we have content contributors and we put them under one large umbrella, and our content kind of transcends the different mediums. So we traditionally just started off with a little bit of written and audio, and now we've moved into having a little bit of video courtesy of a few Dan Doble and his team over there. So we have all these different contributors, and then we have our side of it. So I guess our in-house staff, and we kind of put everything together and then broadcast it back out. Sometimes we switch the formats or follow the stories a little bit deeper once we get leads from some people. So that's the basic premise. So it's composed of online or written content that appears either online or in our magazine, then audio content in the form of podcasts and our podcast network app, and then of course video content, which is basically exclusively on our Facebook page, and we do live feeds as well as edited videos.
That's cool, man. Like I said, he does all kinds of things. It's all over the place. And I do know as part of the network, and like you said, it is a network, hence the name, Haunted Attractions Network. You have all kinds of other groups that work with you to gather all the data and to gather all the interviews and all that kind of stuff and bring it all together. For instance, the Inside the Haunt Industry, they're going to be on next month. They go out and they do shows. You've got several podcast groups. You got all kinds of people involved in this. So it's not just a one-man job. you're just kind of the head point that brings all this stuff together and puts it in one place for everybody to see, correct?
Yeah, I like to think of it where, we do some of our own coverage, and, I do a podcast and do a few interviews and reporting, and some writing, but basically what we like to do is try and provide like the resources and the support and kind of help with the organizational aspect to make sure that all of us are on the same page, and then we can more effectively cover items. So we also have like a network exclusive chat group where we can all plan shows. We do press conferences for the various shows and various vendors or other people in the haunted industry that have something to announce. We'll do press conferences, and all of our shows and reporters and affiliates are invited. And yeah, so we try and basically I'm like I think of it maybe like kind of like a secretary, I guess. So I don't know about like a head point. It's more like kind of just helping get everyone on the same page, taking everyone's content, like taking stock of it all, reformatting it, optimizing it, reposting it. If it's something that I think there's more places we could take it, then we look at that and figure out how to do that. So, it's nothing that exciting.
You're not fooling anybody. You're the big toe, man. We know it. Everybody's got to have a big toe. You're the big toe. Big Toe Phil. Yeah, that's your new name, Big Toe Phil. No, sorry, don't use that. No, that's bad idea. Bad idea. Okay, so one of the outlets, let's say, of Haunted Attractions Network is the Haunt Journal. I have lots of copies of the Haunt Journal. I've been a subscriber for quite a while. I mean, literally, I have lots of copies of the Haunt Journal.
Turn them around.
I got a pile of them over here. I do read them. They got all kinds of great stuff in them. Now, how long has the Haunt Journal been around?
Oh my goodness. That's a question to which I don't have an immediate answer.
Oh no.
Well, and it's even hard to backtrack because it was monthly, and then it was like bi-monthly, and now it's quarterly. So it's like you can't just take the issue count and like backlog it from there, because we've changed it. And then in the early days, we like skipped a month here or there, or sometimes 2 months, depending on how crazy it was to get everything together.
Okay. Forget all that. How often does it come out?
A few years, like multiple years, in excess of multiple years. Yeah, more than 2 years.
You're up to issue, what is it, 17? What one are you working on right now? I know you're working on putting one out.
We're working on issue 16 that will go out in June.
16.
Yes.
So I thought I had 16. No, I got 15 right there. Yay, 16 will be out in June. Can't wait for that.
Yes.
For that.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that I've noticed about this, unlike a lot of the other magazines, this is quality stuff. This will be around. This isn't sitting on the type you find sitting on the dentist chair. You got some good printing in here, boy. That's one of the things I was impressed by when I got it. It's a nice one. So, and you've got people behind you now. I know, and we chatted about it a little bit. That this isn't just something that's put together by volunteers. The Haunt Journal is a pro-done. This is done by people who know how to do it. Correct?
Yeah, it is. So it didn't used to be, right? But now it is like actually a real magazine, which is kind of interesting for me to think about it, because when you ask like, well, how long has it been going on? I'm like, well, it's been several years, but it hasn't been suddenly. With the last few issues, they felt much more real because they're printed in mass, and we're using a magazine press, and there's a mailing house now. Those of you like you, Mike, who've been through it, I don't know. I'm sure you remember when they used to come in like the bags, and I used to like hand mail them out. So I'd like sit there and I'd hand label like hundreds of these and like mail them out from our post office.
Yeah, so idiots like me could deliver them.
Yeah. So now it's it is real now, which is kind of crazy from my standpoint.
It's like watching the baby grow up a little bit, isn't it?
And it's a little terrifying. Definitely terrifying, because with all the changes, there's no you know, it's like you miss publication deadline, you know, you reserve time on the magazine press, and, you know, you put the deposit down, and if you don't make it, then you don't make it. You know, everything kind of has to be done, all has to be done right. There's a lot of graphic hoops to jump through. But yeah, it is a large team, actually, that helps string all this together. So I guess a little bit of how that was formed is, so the network and the magazine are now under Gantom Media, which is the media division of Gantom. And I think most of you all watching will know Gantom for their lighting side. So Gantom has a lighting department. They have a live department, which is what ZTAG is under. They also have a media department, right? So the media department of Gantom now operates, not owns, but they do operate the network. So they help provide the resources that allows everything to keep running. So, and then we in turn can provide resources then to all of the other shows and the other haunters to make sure that we get good coverage, equal coverage for everybody out there. And that kind of support is what led to the magazine kind of going from something that I would just do in my room and print to, like,
we don't want to know about
yeah,
what you do in your room.
yeah, you know, things that happen in my room. And then that's what helped took it from there kind of to the level that we're at now, which is where we're kind of like greatly expanding our physical subscriber base, and we're getting them out on a quarterly basis. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting trip.
Yeah, I see you have, you know, and it shows right there on one of the pages, you have a whole bunch of contributors on here. Now, how do you find your contributors? Are these people you go out and ask people to do it, or do people come to you and say, hey, I want to write an article to go in there? How does that whole thing work?
I think it's mainly all I'll tap somebody. There's a little bit of people that do come to us, kind of a thing, you know, back and forth. So I guess for the magazine specifically, the direction of the magazine has changed in the last issue. Definitely with issue 15, and it'll keep in this direction. But we started the shift a little bit in 14. We're kind of shifting it more to focus on seasonal events and seasonal attractions, because I thought, you know, basically, I guess after spending so much time in this haunt side, you know, there's a lot of really great information for the home haunters in terms of building and doing all that stuff. But I thought there was a little bit, basically, you know, there's so much great content out there. Like we can't duplicate that, because it's what people are doing. Yeah, or it's already like too good. You know, you go on Garage of Evil and you go on like Haunters Hangout and Haunters Toolbox, any of those places, and the tutorials that the Davises put out, and like, it's crazy. There's so much great information on there. It's like we don't really need to recreate that. So we thought that the better bridge was kind of in. And also, I should take a step back. I have done a lot of feedback since we started. So I've done like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of surveys. And I look at the data all the time, and we ask everyone what they need. And one of the largest problems that haunters indicate having, they're almost tied neck and neck. One is marketing, and the second is kind of like scaling from like a hobby into a life. And so I was like, you know, let's take a look at this chunk of like scaling your business, so the more professional side of it. So we started shifting the magazine to focus really more on the professional side and building a bridge between what we think of as the haunt industry and the overarching industry that belongs to.
I got you.
You know, because through some of my work with Gantom and working with in the other departments there at Gantom, I really got a lot more familiar with the larger industry, you know, the entertainment industry, then the attraction industry, and then the themed entertainment industry, and then haunters, you know, so kind of this larger sphere. And there's so much information in all these other industries that have been around forever, and there's so much information that's applicable to what we do. And conversely, there's a lot, basically, you know, there's a lot that Christmas can learn from Halloween. There's a lot that Halloween can learn from Christmas. So we're we're shifting the magazine to focus a little bit more on kind of like how the professional side of it and how you transition, and some of these larger questions about, you know, story and etc. So for the contributors, to cycle all the way back to the original question of contributors and how we find them, it is still a little bit of a mix.
Oh yeah, I did ask that question,
yeah,
didn't I?
it is a mix, right? But I guess, you know, the staff that works on the magazine, since it is a production of Gantum Media, all the staff works on the magazine, they're all paid. There's really nobody that's a volunteer. And what I do is we have an editorial mission, kind of to put it, like basically like a reader learning objectives, where at the end of the year, you know, you should have learned X things, and then we kind of break it up into each issue, and then from there, I look out for industry experts or people through all of our connections, Gantum and otherwise, that can potentially help us solve some of those for haunters. So Scott Swenson is one of them. You know, he does get paid to write a regular column, and he's not staff. You know, he is a contributor, and I approached him about coming on, you know, and thankfully he did sign on. I think that his Follow the Story four-piecer is amazing, and it's a great testament to what we do. And yeah, so we do get submissions, and you know, I do look at them, and we kind of have to take the submissions and decide, you know, does this qualify the learning objectives that we're really trying to accomplish from the editorial mission.
You got
Yeah.
you got a direction you want to go with it, and you got to make sure it keeps going that direction. Now, along with that, now bringing it off the page, you have this thing right here about the symposium.
Yeah.
The new leadership symposium going on. Now, I want to talk a little bit about that before we run out of time. It is only a half-hour show after all, right? So
yes, yeah, and I can talk for way too long.
The leadership symposium. Now, I did go out to the new website. We'll talk about that in a moment. And saw this.
I was going to bring it up.
On the old one. We'll talk about that in a moment. But tell me about the symposium.
So I'm very excited about the leadership symposium. It is kind of the both Gantum and, to an extension, the network. Because obviously, you know, that the network I've been operating the network since before Gantum joined. So none of us have ever kind of ventured too far into events. I've done many events outside of the haunt industry. Very crazy, much very complicated events with lots of theatrics and etc. But we've never done anything kind of in the haunt space. So we're very excited about this. And to me, it's kind of like it's meant to be a masterclass type of event, a single day masterclass event, but it's not meant to be. It kind of think the genre of TED Talks, but more active learning. You know, so we thought long and hard, and we looked at what everyone. Not only what everyone was struggling with their attractions, but also what we thought was important in the industry. And so we decided a theme, and the theme for this year is innovation in interactivity, because interactivity is such a hot topic, and it is very crucial for attractions of all genres, not just Halloween, but, you know, what about interactivity for any sort of event that you're going to do in your zoo, your museum, your family entertainment center, your haunt, any of that stuff. You know, how big a role is interactivity playing, and then think about the different facets of interactivity. You know, as your maze becomes more interactive, how do you train your actors about safety? What about touching or not touching? You know, and how do you train them to do that? What about story? How do you make your story more interactive? How do you make your marketing more interactive? You know, there's a lot of new technology. So how do you know what type of technology might work best? There's all this in this idea of interactivity. So what we're doing is every keynote, it's all keynotes, so it's a morning full of keynotes, and every keynote attacks a different angle and dissects it that has to do with interactivity. And we have an interactivity packet for you when you come to the symposium, and the idea is that you'll I really want you to leave with some sort of concrete plan, not just kind of like, because I've gone to a lot of symposiums too, and I've, when I've taught and et cetera. And what I don't want is for people to just sit there and kind of like get hit by information and then not really take action on it.
Right. You want to actually show them, like, guide them a little bit and start them on the way.
And we want to be able to
awesome.
ask those difficult questions, because it's all fine and dandy for someone to say, give you all the theories about, interactive haunt acting, right? But what does that look like for a rehearsal schedule? And how do you break that down to, like, what steps are you going to take? What kind of rules do you give them? And then how do you actually train that? Like, do they train in pairs? How often do they need to train? There's so many questions that you would have for implementing it. So the idea is going to be that we give them a little bit of the top idea, dissect each concept, and then you'll have a worksheet that you'll put your notes on, and then you'll work in groups to come up with an interactivity implementation plan, and then you have the opportunity to shoot back actual operational questions to the keynote speakers. Like how
so this isn't just the what, this is the how.
Yeah.
And this is the step-by-step how. That sounds, and all this all the basic information is on that new website that we talked about a minute ago, correct?
Yeah. And it gets a little bit better than that, because the keynotes are in the morning. There's only 6 keynotes, so it's not too much information. That was another thing. I didn't want to be too overwhelming.
Right.
Because it's like you have too many concepts. And yeah. So we do have the keynotes in the morning. Then we do have a catered lunch that's included in the ticket there at Knott's Berry Farm is where this is being hosted. And the catered lunch is actually in the same room that is a closed room that they have their buffet dinner that happens right before Knott's Scary Farm. And we did that on purpose so that we could show everybody how Knott's does their buffet and how they introduce their scare actors. So you're going to be eating there in the same location as the buffet, and then we're going to have time to network and go around the park, so you get park admission included in your ticket as well. Then when everything gets dark, we are going to actually tour some of the mazes at Knott's Scary Farm and have an introduction to some of the new interactive technology, because that's the theme, interactive technology, right? So we have some new interactivity, interactive technology that the Knott's team is going to kind of explain to everyone at the symposium. So I think that for the early bird price, which is $60, considering that you get the keynotes and you get the lunch and you get theme park admission and you get to preview and play with new technology that's never been seen by anyone else before, it's actually a really good deal.
You get the what, you get the how, and you get to actually see how it all comes together.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Can you do me a huge favor and just box me up and overnight me sampling from the buffet? I would love that.
Well, yes, it's gonna be fun. It's the famous Knott's fried chicken, and I think some of their like boysenberry jams and homemade.
Sure, that's boysenberry, not poisonberry, right? That's not poisonberry.
Well, I'm not sure what's on the buffet menu. It might be poisonberry.
Okay.
Yeah, well.
Awesome, and it is 2 months and 25 days away. I saw that on the page. By the way, while you were talking, I showed them a little rundown of the symposium page of that new website. Speaking of the new website, I'm going to switch over here, and you guys can kind of see that. I've got the new website up. It is on the home page here. And the new Haunted Attractions Network. Now, the address for this, hauntedattractionnetwork.com. I did notice that. Irked me a little bit. No S on the attractions, but yes, Haunted Attraction Network. Right?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. And that's the main page, and it looks beautiful. They did a wonderful job putting this together with information about the journal and the podcasts and everything else. And you got your little clickables up here and how to contact and how to learn more. And it looks like a beautiful website. And I know that you said you wanted to make sure that we talked about that, because it is a new website. The old one was like Haunted Attractions Podcast or something, and that's a little limited, correct?
Yes, and this one, so it's a little less. Our old website was very haunter, and I love it. I still love it. You can actually see it still now. We haven't taken it down quite yet. But this one is much more mobile friendly. It loads faster. It's easier to read.
I couldn't believe with all the, because you have on that main page, you got all that video going on, and boom, it was there.
Yeah.
That was great.
It's very optimized. So we're going to be posting. So those of you that, I don't know if anyone would have noticed, but once we release the magazines, eventually the articles that go out in the magazines do make their way onto our website. It does take a few months. Part of that is just my organization, and part of it is we do want the people that are physically subscribed to be able to get the content faster.
Sure.
But it does
Well,
eventually
sure.
make it onto the new website. So you can see some of the articles from issue 15 are actually live right now on the website, and you can go on there and preview the new design. And we are going to be moving a lot of our content on there. We did a piece on West Coast Harm Prevention, which we just got up a few days ago from our press conference, and that's not in the magazine, so I guess that's an online exclusive.
Speaking of letting the people that subscribe get the content first and that kind of thing, I know you can actually go on your site and you can subscribe to it and get the printed, the beautiful, wonderful quality printed ones on here. And speaking of that, you made a mention in our email back and forth, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But you know what, guys? I'm going to run a little bit of a contest here. We're going to, so again, we didn't get a chance. Is 2 good for you, Philip? Can we do 2?
Actually, if you give me a second, I can just kind of give more than 2. I think I could give a subscription to everybody watching. I just need to log in and open it up.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well I was going to do a whole contest to make them watch the video and answer a question and all that, but hell, if you're going to give it to all of them, here's a scoop, guys. You're going to get a free subscription to Haunt Journal. Yeah, okay. We'll give you a second.
Those are perfect to have all over the coffee table when the in-laws show up, so that they go away sooner.
God, I love you, honey. I love you. You're my beautiful wife, Mistress Laurie. That is great. That is great. Well, while you're doing that, because we got to wrap up the show here. While you're getting that done, I got one more question that I want to ask you.
It's done.
And that is, if you could add one face, any face, to Mount Rushmore, what would it be? Who would it be?
So this is a very probably a very cheesy answer. Which is interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 2, and I probably would flip a coin to decide because I'm that kind of crazy. But I would. They're both so cheesy. But it's kind of just. I would choose either Helen Keller, because I kind of admire Helen for her tremendous ability to kind of make it through adversity. And it's kind of like whenever I start, things get difficult, I just think of what other people have done and how they've gotten through what they've gotten through. And that makes it helps with my perspective. So kind of I think having someone like that up there would be very beneficial. Or just, it might help people in the same way that helps me. And Walt Disney, because I did do a lot with Disney. I was a Disney cast member for many years. And Disney, I know there's a bunch of, turmoil and everyone has different opinions about him. But, to me, he does represent kind of the creativity, imagination, and bringing that to life. And it's one thing, and it's important, because it's I still remember The Biggest Home Haunt back when I was in the Home Haunt DVD collection. The Biggest Home Haunt that I did before we moved commercially. It was there were days where you were oh my God, and you planned and tried to bring it. I remember having our little schematic on a whiteboard, because I wasn't cool enough to have SketchUp or anything nearly as professional. And I was like, we drew it out on the whiteboard, nothing was to scale, and we were like, man, we just got to get this and like turn it into a thing. And just, I have tremendous respect for anybody who's able to do that process on the scale that Walt did, you know, even with so many of the issues that he went through to get it there, to get his idea to like a finished product. And anybody who's done anything like we've done, I think is, you kind of know how difficult that is. So I would choose those two.
Absolutely. But sorry to tell you, wrong answer. It would be Reverend Michael the Gravedigger.
Yeah. Yes.
See, that would have been the right answer. Okay, so you got that opened up so everybody can see it. Or Mistress Laurie, yes. You got that opened up so everybody can see it?
I have it on this one. You can't see it. But what I'm going to say, all you need to do is go to hauntjournal.com. That's it. It's very easy to remember. Hauntjournal.com. And there's a little page that just says that it's only for industry professionals. And then you click apply. And then it's going to take you to a menu. At the bottom of that menu, there's a button that is for Haunt Chat Live Viewer.
Haunt Chat Live Viewer. Now, here's the deal. He's only going to keep this up for tonight. So you got to do this tonight if you want to do it, because since this does get archived, we don't want people down the road being able to do this. So this is one time only. Philip Hernandez, thank you, man. You do so much. Thank you for coming on tonight. We ran a little bit long, but it's the first show. Screw them. Let them wait. Let them wait. So it's been wonderful having you on here. We do want to remind you guys, Haunt Chat Live will be on the first Saturday of every month. The next one is, I got to look at my thing. The next one is June 3rd. That will be Inside the Haunt Industry. They'll be on there, so make sure you guys tune in and watch that. Same bat time, same bat channel. Philip Hernandez, Haunted Attractions Network. Thank you for being the first guest on our show, and it's been a pleasure.
First victim.
And thank you for the giving
First
the free
victim. Mm-hmm.
First victim, absolutely. Thank you for giving away the free subscriptions also. So we will see you all on the flip side, and we've had a blast.